Satoshi's assets have been frozen. Satoshi. I'm going to get into that, plus much more. First, we have $15.1 billion worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum options that are expiring today. So what you do expect? Lots and lots of volatility. You're probably experiencing it right now. It's going to get crazy in my opinion. All right, next we have Saint Ong on Twitter saying every fiscal trend is in the wrong direction. Now, this is the U.S. economy, all right? So this is the global reserve currency that we were talking about here. People are like wondering, well, you're not a U.S. citizen. Why do you even care? Well, it affects the entire globe, okay? He says we're already at $2 trillion deficit. It will soar by trillions when recession hits. Definition of recession can be quite vague now, right? It's usually like 2 or more quarters of decreasing GDP growth, but we had a little more than that before. He also says, and it will keep churning with new spending. And the amount of spending now is ridiculous. You haven't seen anything yet when it comes to spending. Lastly, he says that there's nothing standing between us and fiscal collapse. The only question is when. Well, fiscal collapse, I think what is going to happen is you're going to have a digital dollar that's going to be replacing the current US dollar, which isn't backed by anything. And the digital dollar won't be backed by anything either. But that's going to be like their soft landing. And that should take probably a couple of years from now. I would think like a year to 1 to 2 years away. And it's going to be, you're going to experience ridiculous amounts of inflation, and the digital dollar is probably going to save you guys. That's what it's going to be used for. That's how they're going to implement it. Now, let's go on to this. This is crazy. He also says that the fiscal collapse accelerates as Treasury issues $7 trillion of debt in just 3 months. That matches the worst of COVID, no pandemic needed. And it's double the previous record that has stood for 231 years. And if you've been a member for us for a year or more, you will know that I keep saying over and over again, the US government is going to print more currency this year than any other time in the history of currency printing. And it's going to keep getting worse the more, every other year, it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So that's what to expect. But guess what likes monetary inflation? Bitcoin. You're going to definitely want to get your hands on Bitcoin, especially if the digital dollar or digital euro or whatever comes out. There's many reasons for that. I don't have time to get into that right now. Maybe some other time I will. But let's go on to fake Satoshi, Craig Wright. Yes, he is a fake. He's a fraud. And it's really nice to be able to say that without fear of him trying to sue me. Now, he says, Judge James Mellor ordered a worldwide freeze on 6 million British pounds of Craig Wright's assets. I think it's about $7.4 million. In the court case was brought by COPA, which were the people that were trying to defend themselves against fake Satoshi. And Mellor found earlier this month that Wright was not Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, obviously. But the judge was ruled that Wright was a risk or a flight risk, and they were afraid that he was going to move his assets overseas. And this is actually let's see if I can find it. Here is a quote from the judge. Dr. Wright has a history of default in relation to orders of the payment of money. Mellor wrote before detailing some examples. COPA has a very powerful claim to be awarded a very substantial sum in costs. I consider this, there is a real risk of dissipation. So yeah, he's definitely a flight risk, and he's definitely not going to give his money up very easily. So that's why the judge stepped in and went, hey, your assets are frozen, which is kind of funny, whatever, but regardless, there's crazy people in the world like this guy and many others. So just be careful who you actually listen to in this space. It's pretty easy to tell that he wasn't Satoshi, but whatever. Anyways, that's all I have. If you want to see what we are doing with our crypto, and if you want to see what coins we're buying and when we are going to sell during this bull market, yes, we are in a bull market, I definitely recommend you checking out learningcrypto.com. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.